God's plan. God's plan. Yeah. Wiley says Drake's a culture vulture. I quite like it when Wiley says stuff sometimes. Wiley is a Wiley is a bit of a legend now, isn't he? Yeah, I think that's safe to say. It's been long enough. It's been around longer than Drake has. That's for fucking sure. Man, pay as you go. Cartel. That's how far back he goes. So, according to this, Drake addresses being called a culture vulture. That's some real confused hater shit. I mean, I don't know if it's hater shit. But all right, we'll have a look. So Drake loves him some UK, yet the feeling isn't always reciprocated. Aubrey has been across the pond on his assassination vacation tour. Sounds like a fucking anarchist group. And recently had to address being labelled a culture vulture by a local artist in an interview. Pretty sure it's just Wiley, but the OVO head honcho has been making his rounds in Europe, and despite bringing out popular British artists like J Hus, Crepton Conan, and Dave, while on different stops, some other UK artists haven't felt how Drake's been operating, namely respected UK grime rapper Wiley, who called Drake out on Twitter last week. On Saturday, Drizzy sat down with Tiffany Calver on BBC One's One Extra Rap show, and the God's Plan rapper, God's Plan, addressed the animosity. Can I do Drake's? They've got weird accents, haven't they? Fucking Canadian. I hate that people that think that, like, me being into music from these kids who are trying to make it and trying to build a name for themselves is like, oh, that's some culture vulture. What does that even mean? Drake said. I don't understand what that means. Would you rather me not acknowledge anything or support? That's some real confused hater shit. It is what it is. I see it a lot. I'll never understand how supporting someone's song or going a step further and giving someone a song, linking up, I'll never understand how that's not viewed as something admirable. He continued, it was Wiley that said that. It was Wiley. Bang! Who ate all the pies? Who ate all the pies? Right, and I just said his name because I felt like that was some goofy shit, but yeah, I just didn't like that. Like, what are you talking about? During the sit-down, Drake also discussed people saying he has a false accent. His accent has changed. It has changed. It's weird because, like, you hear, like, what album is it? I think it was If You're Reading This Is Too Late. That's when it started changing. And you're hearing, like, there's a bit in it, and it's got, like, people in Toronto, like, speak, like, yard. Speak like yard, like that. And like, hey, yeah, bro, your blood clot, you get me now. Like, I just found that fucking, I was like, whoa. I thought the only people outside of, you know, the Caribbean that spoke like that was people in London. But, and, you know, other large black communities and cities across the UK. But, you know, it's very, it's weird to hear. It's weird to hear someone like a Canadian talking like that. And you're like, what? Fuck. It's actually funny because I think when I first came in the industry, I think I felt this pressure to be American and sound American. He said, I think now that we are also proud to be from Toronto, we start talking more like how we talk. Wiley has since responded to Drake's call out on social media, posting a clip of the interview on Instagram. He captioned the audio, #goofy, yeah? Well, let's make that trend. Many emojis. If what I was saying was wrong, you would have stayed silent. Many emojis. He later gloated over the possibility of a highly publicized beef with one of the biggest artists on the planet. Have I got myself into a war with Drake? Lol. #Jeez. Jeez. Amazing. Wiley's not very good with his hashtags, is he? I think he's shown his age there. Wiley posted on Twitter. He also put on an IG video mocking the Canadian rapper. So, okay. Is Drake a culture vulture? I'll tell you what, Drake is a tactician in the same... His career is very much similar to people like Jay-Z and Kanye. Sort of goes by that playbook as well. What do I mean by that? The whole thing is like standing next to people when the timing is right, and sort of jumping on waves. They're wave riders, and Drake's been doing it for a long time. I mean, look. So when Tuesday came out by Love McCartney, club going up on a Tuesday. Drake jumped on that, with a remix, and that was big. Versace, which is like massive, the first big hit for Migos. Drake jumped on that remix and rode that wave. He's done it many times, and he's been like courting the UK, because the UK is starting to like get more world recognition. I mean, Double XL magazine covers the UK. They've even had UK artists part of like the shortlist for the freshman cover. So that's the way. Drake's one of them, and Jay-Z used to do exactly sort of the same things. XXX Tentacion, R.A.P. Called Drake out for mimicking his flow on a track, and usually when Drake does something like that, artists go, "Oh, thanks Drake, yeah, Drake." But no, X was like fresh out of jail. I was like, "No, fuck Drake," and started cussing his mother on Instagram regularly. So, you're gonna play that game. Some people might not like it. I think Wiley's sort of calling it out. It's just how the industry sort of, especially in hip hop, that's how it sort of kind of worked for a long time. Kanye, was accused by Young Chop. Young Chop was obviously, Young Chop was a big. I don't know what Young Chop's doing these days. Probably still making beats. But, he was part of the whole drill movement in Chicago a few years back. He was one of the biggest producers for that. Doing all Chief Keef's beats and so forth. And I think it was for Yeezus. I think the Yeezus album, Kanye brought him in, to make some beats and shit. And Young Chop called him out and said, "Yeah, he just used me because I was having a wave, and then just chucked, and then it was done with, bye bye, it was all over, sort of thing." And Kanye's always, Kanye, when Travis Scott was blowing up, brought Travis Scott in to do some production on his album. He's always, that's why he jumped on the tune with Lil Pump. He sees Lil Pump's wave, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm on that." I mean, not saying it's a bad thing. I think he's someone who's like got his ear to the ground and appreciates music. And likes new cultures and stuff. I think he has a genuine interest in it. But it also works to like to ride trends, to just ride waves. YouTube does the same, It's very similar. Do you know what I mean? It's like I posted myself in a box challenge. Oh, everyone's doing it. Pranking people in the hood. Everyone's doing it. Gold digger prank. Shit. There's a guy out there called fucking. What's the guy called? What's that motherfucker's name? Something like dangerous something like that. I can't remember his name, but he literally just does gold digger pranks with the golden shovel, just variations of the gold digger prank. Like hundreds of videos, gold digger pranks. Like seriously, riding waves, baby. And Jay-Z's always been well known for like so many stories. A classic one is when Irv Gotti and Ja Rule done the tune, "Can I Get a Whoop Whoop?" Jay-Z heard that and said, and that was supposed to be Ja Rule's tune. He is on it, but it's Jay-Z's tune. Jay heard it and said, "I'm having that. I want that. Give that to me." And had it. you know, because that was a sort of different sound. Like at the time, they weren't really like beats sort of sound like that, you know. You know, Money Cash Hose. When DMX was fucking 1998, when DMX was just fucking massive, and Swiss Beats doing most of the tunes. Jay-Z, Money Cash Hose. It's one of the best DMX songs that isn't a DMX song, technically, you know, or one of his own. Probably was. This is what he does. Sean Paul was big. Brought Sean Paul onto a tune on the Blueprint. You know, he's done it. He's always riding. He's a wave rider too. 50 Cent rides waves too. And when Soulja Boy was popping, he fucking stood next to Soulja Boy. Chief Keef, he brought Chief Keef into the mold. You know, this is how you maintain. You can't maintain a career for like 10, you know, and Drake's on 10 years plus now. You can't maintain a career, especially nowadays, without riding trends and riding waves. Redefine yourself. And look at Madonna. Madonna's always latched on to trends. Always. Like from way back, like in the early 90s. Vogue was a dance that they did in gay clubs in Manhattan. Voguing. I mean, it's the gayest thing. It's the gayest. You know, and she did a whole song about it. She rode waves, and then, you know, certain music was blowing up. Like when parkour was coming into the main consensus. You know, she had parkouring and fucking music videos. You know, it's like Ali G. You know, who's a big artist? Massive Attack. She got brought in Massive Attack when they blew up. You know, back in the 90s to make tunes for her. Anyways, now culture vulturing, on the other hand, is a different thing. Is a whole different thing. And not everyone quite understands. I have my own perception of culture vulturing. I think cultural appropriation is just a nonsense. I think it does. I think there are examples that you could use and exist, but that's not what I want to talk about. Culture vulturing is something when you ain't, as far as I'm concerned, it's something when you ain't like, not necessarily like an ethnic culture or something. It's just a culture you've never been part of, and then you see it blowing up, and you see how big it is, and then you just sort of grab it, take a piece for yourself, for your own personal gain, rather than saying, I love this culture, I want all my fans to love this culture. Katy Perry does it. Katy Perry, which is bizarre, when that tune she did with the Migos, it's like, and in that situation, the Migos were like, oh, it's crossover, so therefore we're going to reach another audience, an audience who never heard of us. But I was like, no, I think Katy Perry benefits way more, because Katy Perry's gone, her career's gone, boop. She's on a downward slide. Migos were ascending into like mainstream consciousness, you know. Like Versace was a big hit, but no way as big as what was that tune? I can't remember. Was it Casting Cat? I can't remember. But you know, so it's like it did her more favors than it did them, and she's there all dancing goofy. She don't give a fuck. Like this girl used to make like totally different music before she did a song called "You're So Gay." You know, she's just... and Miley Cyrus is probably the worst culture vulture of all time. Goes from, you know, teeny bopper princess country music girl to suddenly go, oh, I'm a ratchet whore. And they go, how else can I get away with being a ratchet whore? I know, hip-hop music. That's what ratchet whore's like. It's fucking... I found it quite offensive. Like, I was like, what? And then she's out there twerking with her pancake ass. You know, Miley Cyrus is a big culture vulture. Yeah. Oh, Mike Wilmate. He's one of the biggest producers now. Yeah, I'll get him to do the whole fucking album. He'll do it because it's like, well, it's pop music, you know, the check's good. He's like, well, I like that. How much? Yeah, that sounds all right to me. You know, it's good for his career. You know, to get into sort of, if he wants to get into the mainstream, which obviously he did. But for her, like, that's not someone who fucking has been into that sort of music and loves that scene since day dot. Because then she totally turned around and said, no, hip-hop's misogynistic and blah, blah, and this is not. Suddenly she's like, no. It's like, fucking, jumping on that train, snatching up that culture vulturing helped you a hell of a lot. It totally rebranded your image as some sort of drugged up fucking mess some hoe ass mess. Like, that's an ultimate example of real culture vulturing, where you don't give a fuck about it. You just like girls when they're young, you know, like girls at school and used to be into certain types of music, and they go, oh, well, I'd be cool if I want to hang around with those boys. I'll just, you know, and they have the trend start kit. They buy the t-shirt, buy one of the albums, wouldn't know any of the songs. Go, I like song number 4. Like, all right, yeah, okay. Right, yeah. What's your favourite lyric? I don't know, the bit that goes, man. Like, that's what they do. Not just saying girls, but, you know, people, they see what's cool, or they see what's bubbling underground, and then they just fucking just go, give it to me. I want to be cool too. You know what I mean? Like when, you know, even like when cutting yourself was considered to be hip, people started cutting themselves. That's culture vulturing. You know what I mean? What someone needs to do, this is what 4chan should do, because they're good at this kind of thing. They should make a totally uncool culture seem like it's bubbling up and cool. Something really fucked up. Really, like, I don't know, like whacking off over hentai, like making love to, you know, love pillow. I don't know, something. Just something. And then convince desperate artists whose careers are on the nosedive that, to you know, culture vulture that culture. To vulture the culture. And just look like an absolute tit. Do you know what I mean? Absolute tit. Because in fact, the whole Pepe the Frog thing is kind of pretty much a culture vulture situation. Pepe was like 4chan's thing that they loved and held dearly to themselves. And then, funny enough, Katy Perry and Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj is another person who definitely does a bit of wave riding. And they started posting Pepe memes, and that was enough to send 4chan bonkers to convince everyone it's a symbol of white supremacy. See, they didn't like people vulturing their culture, and they went so hard on it that they made it like a completely, you know, don't even go there type situation. They did to Pepe the Frog what Hitler did to the swastika. The swastika has always been a beautiful symbol before the Nazis. Still used in Hindu culture and in Japan. They ain't letting fucking Hitler spoil the pie. But, you know, Europe did. You know. So what it is. So yeah, is Drake a culture vulture? Yeah, he's a wave rider. But obviously, you know, grime culture and UK music culture is very different to America. So you could say, but I don't know how it does keep in current. I don't know. Jury's out on that one. But I do know who the fucking culture vultures are. Keep your eye out.